Oh, this is delightful. I hope you guys like crack because this band sure did. Welcome to Every Album Ever with Mike and Alex. My name is Michael Mansour, and I'm joined, as always, this time over Skype, once again, by my lovely, happy co-host, Alexander Volch. Say hello.
Hello.
This is Every Album Ever podcast. Oh, God. This is Every Album Ever, the podcast where we listen to every single album in the world, one artist at a time. That's a whole new discography per episode. And today, we'll be discussing every album by
Porno for Pyros.
Porno for Pyros, a nice short discography, which means that we are behind schedule. Is that right?
I wouldn't say we're behind schedule as much as we're trying to get ahead.
Yeah, that's a nice way of looking at it. Yes. Porno for Pyros,
we have episodes in the bank. We're good.
We're good. It's just we're just making sure we stay there.
Exactly.
Go ahead and check out our episode on Jane's Addiction that we did a million years ago. Because for those who don't know, Porno for Pyros is 50% of Jane's Addiction and a different band, mostly, sort of.
Yes, a band that I had no idea included Mike Watt.
Mike Watt, not only is he a member now, but he was a member briefly in the 90s. Complete news to me. I'm delighted. Check out episode of the Minuteman, by the way, because Mike Watt is literally one of the greatest bass players of all time. Probably my number one favorite bass player ever. So that's delightful. It's like Mike Watt is the dude that every old band who reunites grabs because they know he's gonna get the job done. Like this, he was with the Stooges before they finally broke up for good.
He's the only person I've seen play in a gigantic arena and then also play at like a small venue like over in LA called The Smell.
Dude, like, he's the most efficient.
I've never seen another musician like play such varying venues like that.
He's the man. He's I always consider him like the musical equivalent of a plumber, where he just goes there to get the job done. He wears a flannel tucked in to his jeans. He's a real dude. He's no ego. He just shows up to do the job, and he does the job well. He's a tradesman, but of bass.
Blue collar bassman.
Dude, I mean the most blue collar. I'm still in San Pedro, I think, to this day. Dude rules. So he's here not on any of these albums, because on these albums we got Mr. Martin Lenoble, and this is delightful. I hope you guys like crack because this band sure did. Anytime you bring up Perry Farrell, there's just
you're gonna get
things.
You're gonna get stories and characters and illegal activity and.
Dude, the guy sucks. He still sucks. He's a horrible human being. But I love his voice. I can't help it.
He does have one of the most unique voices in rock music, I think.
Definitely. So, I'm a quick refresher on Jane's Addiction. You weren't a huge Jane's Addiction fan.
No, but I will say Nothing Shocking is amazing. Like it's an amazing album. I can't deny that album. Everything after that, I don't care for.
I like Jane's Addiction quite a bit. Nothing Shocking, I think, is an absolute masterpiece. Ritual de l'Habitual. I debated with Tom, our history guy, about that album on that episode. Checked out that episode where I debate Tom. Is that what it's called? Mike debates Tom, something like that.
Yeah.
I still like the album quite a bit. And then I didn't even mind the shitty 90s stuff that they did. I didn't like the last album so much, but with Strays, I didn't mind Strays. You hated it, but
yeah, if my memory serves me correctly, I think like their most recent album, I was like, not bad. I like recent old man reunion albums. That's my jam.
I do not, and I didn't like that album at all. And I got some news. Old Porno for Pyros, they are almost definitely releasing a new reunion EP this year.
Yes, they are.
Stay tuned for a loose ends. And I don't know if you listened to the newest singles that came out. One of them a few days ago as of this recording, and then the other ones a few months ago. Did you listen to the new singles?
I did not. I saw they were putting out a new EP. I was like, is it out? Because I don't want to do a loose ends. I just want to get this one and done.
We're gonna do loose ends, and I'm afraid to tell you, those singles fucking stunk.
Oh, yeah.
But before we go too deep into that, what did you think about these albums?
I would say this is like because there's only two. This is like a 50-50 thing for me. Yeah, one album I liked quite a bit more than I thought I was going to enjoy, and then the other album I was just like, what are we doing here?
I like them both a lot.
I should rephrase that. I think one, it's not bad, but it kind of felt like it was in one like neutral Milk Hotel mode. No, one neutral
I know.
mode like the whole time. Like it's the one tempo, and that's like every song's kind of the same. But
if anybody has heard any of these albums, they know exactly which one he's talking about. There's just really hard to mix that one up.
It's the second one.
It's the second one, everybody. We all know that. I like both the albums quite a bit. We'll talk more in detail when we get to them. But if you like Jane's Addiction, there's probably a 99% chance you'll like this band. I mean, it's not that they're a 1-to-1, but Perry's voice is so dominating. And the songs are different. It's a different songwriting style. It's a different. And Stephen Perkins is also drumming here. He doesn't sound like Stephen Perkins in this band, and it's actually quite interesting.
Yeah, from my memories, which are faulty, I thought they were very similar to Jane's Addiction, and I was pleasantly surprised that this is different enough.
Yeah, it warrants a different name. It warrants. I mean, it's a completely different band. It feels like a different band, even though there is a dominating thing that you're not going to not think of Jane's Addiction when you hear any of these songs, even though it doesn't sound like the same band. Perry just has the fucking voice. You can't not hear it. But we have some notes here from our boy Tom Osman. You should go help out and support and go follow him. Yes. He has he sent us some notes. One from janesaddiction.org, which I believe is a fan site, and a feature on Porno for Pyros from Spin in November 2023, so fairly recent. Might as well talk a little bit about it because because Tom is a big Jane's Addiction fan, so he knows a lot of this stuff offhand. And this is what he says. He says apparently they'd smoke crack, and then when they were coming down, they'd get in the rehearsal space and jam. If I remember right, the crack smoking was also a major contributor to Martin Lenoble getting axed from the band. Though when you've got multiple band members smoking crack, no doubt there will be differences of opinion as to where blame should be laid when shit goes south. So,
they have like a Metallica situation where they love to drink, but they kick Dave Mustaine out for being an alcoholic. For being the most alcoholic, though. He was just the most of the bunch. That's the problem. You could be like, bad. Hey, you don't outdrink us. Exactly. Oh God. But he Tom pulled the actual quote to prove that he's not talking out of his ass. It's from Horrors, an oral biography of Perry Farrell and Jane's Addiction. And the quote is, oh my God, dude. That's a good quote. It's a good quote. If the drugs in Jane's Addiction was horrible, the situation with Porno for Pyros was actually worse. Once again, with a smile on his face, drummer Stephen Perkins found himself playing in a band of heroin and crack addicts. Worst offender was Porno for Pyro bassist Martin Lenoble, who'd go on binges and disappear for weeks at a time, even attempting suicide out of drug-fueled embarrassment. Jesus Christ. Good God. Oh, so off to a hot start. So was it that we said on the Jane's Addiction episode that they personified the LA asshole rock band cliche in every possible facet? They are. They have like douchebag tattoos. They wear eyeliner. They wear they wear scarves. Like, they get addicted to crack and heroin. It's fucking ridiculous. Oh shit.
But Tom adds a little bit of his personal experience here. He says, when I decided to learn to play bass in my late 20s, I modeled myself on 2 bass players, Andrew Weiss of Rollins Band and Ween, and Martin Lenoble. Maybe it was partly because they both seemed to enjoy meandering all over the fretboard. So I gotta say, Martin Lenoble is the fucking heart and soul of Porno for Pyros.
There is like excellent musicianship going on here. And I did find myself gravitating more towards like drums and bass more often, like the guitar and vocals.
It's such a rhythm-centric band, and it feels really good. The bass lines are really incredible. Sometimes the bass lines are like the I guess you could say dominating. It's just the thing that takes up most space in the mix. It's actually mixed super loud too. It's not even like it's like almost like they know he's the star of the show, so they're cranking him on purpose. Tom also says here, he says, I think I suggested once that you should do an episode of favorite crack smoking acts. Well, here's my crack smoking supergroup. I encourage Mike and Alex and all the listeners to play along. So he says, Dave Gahan's singing. He says he just tried it and didn't like it, but it still counts. DMX on rhymes, Martin Lenoble on bass, Herbie Hancock on keyboard, James Monkey Schaefer from Korn on guitar, and Chris Frantz on drums. And he says, I'd take this over Linkin Park any day of the week.
I actually want to hear that. I want to hear that band.
Are you kidding? DMX with Herbie Hancock and Monkey?
Dude, it's going to sound like Praxis. I don't know if you've ever listened to Praxis.
No. You've mentioned them before, though.
Yeah. It's going to sound like Praxis, but insane and maybe bad. Probably bad.
Probably bad, but it's still fun. I'm ashamed to say I don't know how many musicians are specialized in crack off the top of my head.
I know. I can't. I'm going to have to, like, next episode, I'm going to have to, like, I think of, like, Whitney Houston.
I think of Houston and Bobby Brown, but that's like the most obvious because it was talked about, at least hilariously, in pop culture over the course of many decades.
Yeah. Well, you could go to drugabuse.com.
Oh, is that a real site?
Yeah, and they have
Jesus
30 musicians. Aussies had to do crack, right? There's no way.
Of course. He was a child of the 80s. I mean, look at his hair in the 80s.
Yeah.
That's smoking hair.
Amy Winehouse.
Yeah.
Anthony Kiedis. There's no way.
Kiedis. I mean, he was Mr. Heroin, and maybe he was Mr. Crack as well.
Yeah. Probably Bowie. Probably.
Maybe. I think he's more of a cocaine man.
Yeah.
I just feel like straight cocaine.
I feel like Bowie's like done it all.
Definitely he's done it all. All the stuff we don't like to talk about either.
I always like finding out like random like musicians use heroin. Like Ray Charles doesn't seem like.
Oh, you wouldn't.
But you know, yeah. How do we leave off Flavor Flav? Flavor Flav is
he's crack addiction personified.
Yes, he's a mascot for crack cocaine.
Yeah. Oh shit. It's hard to believe he's so talented, and he really is, but he does not let it be known. It's almost like he's fighting you, trying to make sure you never realize that he's talented.
He's like, yeah, he's kind of like the Aussie of hip hop. I don't think he's gonna like, or Lemmy for sure use crack.
Oh, that's not surprising.
Yeah.
Well, it concludes our segment on crack. But
I'm going to research it. Next episode, I'll have my crack cocaine super group.
Good. I'm holding you to that.
Yeah.
So a brief backstory on the band. It's just from the wiki. It's pretty straightforward. It's just that after Gin Addiction broke up, Harry Farrell and Stephen Perkins formed the band with Peter DiStefano on guitar and Martin Lenoble on bass. And apparently Farrell named the band after seeing an ad for fireworks in a porno magazine. So it's pretty on the nose name for the band.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you might as well jump in the albums. Like we said out the gate, pretty simple, just 2 albums. Yeah, first one came out in 1993, last one 1996. But of course, we're probably going to get an EP this year. So yeah, I guess we might as well get started. You ready?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. This is 1993's Self-Titled. The second this came on, my fears were put to rest immediately. I fucking love this.
Yeah, I don't know if my fears were put to rest, but it was like a nice surprise.
That bass feels so buttery. And not to mention those drums.
Yes. Perkins is the man. I wish he was in other bands.
Yeah. Of course, Perry sounds just like Perry.
Yes. Doesn't miss a beat.
Yep.
Well, looking at the credits for this album, I found out there's a person named Skate Master Tate.
Skate Master Tate.
Skate Master Tate.
Skate Master Tate. Oh, lovely.
And yeah.
So I imagine this is the one you don't care for.
No, this is the one I like.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
I was making a joke at the beginning saying, like, obviously we know which one he's talking, and I didn't. I got it wrong. What the fuck is happening?
You got it wrong. This one rules.
I agree, but I'm confused. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, now I'm very confused because this one is like the most Jane's Addiction East album that they have. I mean, out of the two, this is it's distinct, but it's still super. It sounds like Jane's Addiction.
I think it's more dreamier and spacey and more like rooted in psychedelia, where like Jane's Addiction and maybe even like funk. Yeah, I'll throw funk in there too. Like Jane's Addiction, I feel like they dabbled in those things, but they have their sound.
Yeah, they're a rock band through and through. They're still alt metal, is still rock. They're a guitar centered band.
Yes.
These guys feel like rhythm centered.
Yes. And yeah, I just really thought this was like a cool little like snapshot of how weird and awesome like alternative music in the 90s was.
Yeah.
The songs are short and sweet and digestible, but I don't find them shallow, and I think it's due to the like performances of the rhythm section. Like there's always these are like snappy songs you could play for normal people, but like for music nerds, you can go back and you can catch a little something every time.
It's surprisingly deep. It's really cool. When I say like the rhythm section dominates, one, Steven is not playing the way he plays in Jane's Addiction at all. He's doing way more tribal kind of stuff. The drums he's playing sound completely. I don't know if there's like, it sounds like rototoms and fucking timbales. And I don't think it is. I don't know what it is really. But
could this be that they're tuned really tight? Really tight,
really high. And it's a really fucking cool sound. It makes it feel extra percussive. And I think he's even credited. I might be misremembering, but I thought he was credited as percussion and not drums.
Yes, drums
drums and percussion. Never mind.
Yeah.
But it feels way more percussive, and that gives it a feel just that Jane's Addiction didn't have. And then the bass lines, they're so, like I said when the song is playing, they're buttery as hell, real slidey, real groovy, real dominating. It's fucking nice.
Yeah, because there's some good bass lines in Jane's Addiction, but not like this.
This is a whole new thing. This is on the title track, we get some really plucky slap bass.
Yes, very busy on the hand drums going on there. That one has more of a like hard rock feel to it when the main chorus kicks in.
Yeah, I love the chorus. I don't love the main riff so much, but I dig the chorus a lot. And then it introduces it on that track, but it happens a few times in the album. That harmonica, that really squeaky, weird ass harmonica.
They always just like dip their toes in the water with harmonica. It's never like okay, this is the harmonica section, or like
They don't go fucking annoying blues travelers with it. Like, it's what I like, because neither of us are a big fan of the harmonica sound, the sound of the harmonic, like the way it's traditionally used in bluesy
it's hard to pull off.
folk. I don't like. It's never been my thing. But when it's done stupid and weird like this, it's fucking interesting, at least.
Yeah, I think that also has to do with these like soundscapes that they're making, and I don't want to call it a wall of sound, because it is very much like these musicians. It's not like a what's the wall of sound guy who
Phil Spector.
Yeah, it's not like a Phil Spector wall of sound, but they're these very like full things where you're like, man, do they have like 9 guys in this band?
There's a lot of stuff happening, but it's usually pretty interesting. It ends up registering as more psychedelic than it does as experimental in any kind of way.
Yeah, I think Miha, on top of being like a funny word, and a funny
is it Miha? Because it's like, I think you're pronouncing it Miha like a Spanish. That looks like Indian, or like
when I was listening to it,
Hindi or something.
I swore he said,
Miha?
I swore he said Miha.
I hope it is.
Because
that's what we used to call men we didn't like in the hood.
little bitch boys, little
bitch
Mihas.
boy, little bitch Miha, yeah.
And then I thought it was because a large source or inspiration for this album was the LA riots. So I'm like, of course it's Miha. Like,
maybe it's not how you spell Miha in Spanish.
Well, yeah, they didn't.
Maybe they just didn't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm calling it Miha. If anyone knows,
Miha.
I like this. Like, it's a real tight ass snare drum. I like invoking like reggae elements without going full reggae.
Yeah,
and then this bringing in the saxophone. It's just all these elements I normally don't like, and it's a really nice song.
It's a great song. I mean, I really love that bass line to it. Martin's carrying so much weight. I mean, he carries a lot of weight in the band in general, but that was when it started kind of to click with me, and I started realizing it. And I also really dig Perry's choices on that one. I mean, it's just the same kind of stuff you do in Jane's Addiction, but if it's a cool style, it actually works. Even though we already talked about the title track a little bit, but I don't like. I think it's a fine song, but I kind of don't like it as a track too. I think it brings down the pacing a bit. But that's like the only hiccup I have in the whole album.
It is a more like high energy song than anything else on the album, really.
I just felt it. I don't know what it was about it. It just seemed to like throw me off the second that one came on. But everything else, because after Miha, we got Cursed Female, which is when they really started to lean into the groovy and psychedelic a little bit.
Yeah,
almost jammy.
Big drums, heavy guitars. Yep. I think there's some melodica on there. Has a darker feel to it than a lot of other things. And then it is an interesting contrast to like Curse Male, where it's like heavy funk guitars, upbeat drums, and then like Perkins is killing it on that song.
Oh yeah. Sounds fantastic, real tribally. The stuff he's doing, a lot more. I mean, there's a lot of wah pedal on the guitar and stuff, and it's a very groovy thing. That song felt, I mean, the most one of the songs here that felt the most like Jane's Addiction. It's out of the rest of the songs, it's a little bit less psychedelic jammy. It's more alt metal. But it has like a hopefulness to it, and the intro is very weird. I mean, it's like almost childlike vocals. I think it's Perry, but it sounds kind of retarded. It's cute. It's not bad, but it sounds fucking goofy.
It's probably Perry.
Yeah. But still, it's a solid song. Pets.
I
think it's like the first notable low point. I still like it as a song, but
if I had to guess what song was a single from here, I would have got it wrong, because I never would have guessed it was Pets.
I can't believe it's Pets. I think it's the weakest song on the album. I mean, I'm fine with it, but
like the weird lyrics are like cool and interesting, but like, man, what a beautiful time the 90s were, where Pets could become a hit song.
It's 90s. Man, the older I get, the more I'm like, the 90s were where it's at. And it's
yeah, had songs about humans becoming pets to aliens. Like
That's pretty
yeah,
good stuff. That's pretty
this is
good stuff. Really, I mean, unsurprisingly awesome rhythm section on Bad Shit.
Dude,
Really good energy.
Really frantic stuff going on there.
Awesome song.
Packing
Yeah,
25,
I mean, Packing 25 rules. Yeah.
bringing in the funk in a big way that other songs maybe this kind of dabble.
Dude, it's that chorus is insanely primacy. It sounds just like Herald of the Rocks, or like it reminds me a lot of it.
That is like the Primus section of the album, because like I feel like Blood Rain could have been a Primus song as well.
Oh yeah, I mean it is alt. I mean, I guess it can be considered alt metal, and
Yeah.
Jane's Addiction and Primus were the two ones that, along with Faith No More, I guess, basically helped invent it. But it fucking rules. And yeah, I think Packin' 25 was just a really good example of the psychedelic stuff, the hints of Eastern influence. It's not super prominent, but you could tell it's there. Black Girlfriend feels great. It's way more mellow and laid back. It's just nice, and then it goes into this like really funky break around 250. Another ridiculous harmonica solo thing.
The lyrics to that song did kind of make me laugh. This like trying to envision a young Perry Farrell like spitting game.
All he does is talk about wanting to bang everybody. I mean, it's like his one thing.
He does not discriminate.
No, the man will fuck anything.
White women, Asian women, black women, underage women. It's all fair game.
Yep. Hide your kids, hide your wife, whatever.
Getting back to the music, I think Orgasm is the most like psychedelic thing on
Easily.
here.
Yeah.
Love another one where you get like cool hang drums. Again, amazing bass. Just like the guitar players really tapping into like psychedelic sounds on there. Spacey feedback. Yeah,
I dig it. I mean, I don't find the writing of it to be super memorable. I think a lot of the other ones have stronger hooks and riffs, but it feels good. It's clearly meant to be like a vibe song. It's a great closer for that.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think that's like good placement for it on the album, like right at the end.
It's a nice gentle closer. It's nothing like it's not an epic of any kind. It's not a super crazy long 12-minute experimental psychedelic piece. It just does it. It does it well. It does it fine. It's a nice. I mean, the whole album is not really like trying to break any new ground. It's just making really digestible but dense songs. I think it works. I like it a lot.
It's funny how for its time this wasn't like new ground, but if a band did this now, it'd be like, you guys are crazy.
Yeah. These days, whatever. Fucking defeated. But yeah, I dig it. I mean, it's distinct from Jane's Addiction, but for this album, just barely. Like, it's mostly the rhythm section that's making it feel like a different band. I think Martin steals the show, and Steven is venturing out in ways I was never expecting. And I still like Perry's voice. Guitar is doing its thing. It's fine. It's not really a guitar band, so it's nothing is bad here. I would say nothing is bad here.
Yeah. I think it's like a very cool side of like Perkins and I was not expecting to like this album as much as I did.
I wasn't either. I mean, I wasn't expecting you to. I felt like I was probably gonna at least enjoy it a little bit. But I came out digging it quite a bit. According to the Jane's Addiction website, this album was delayed due to issues with the album's artwork, which, like Jane's Addiction's albums before it, was based on a sculpture created by Perry Farrell. It actually does look like a sculpture, in a very primacy way. Actually, it actually looks like a Primus type cover.
It does. It could be claymation, but
yeah, I mean, if it was made from a sculpture, I'm sure it was some sort of clay-like substance. It was made of crack, but it goes on to say
clay.
Yeah, it goes on to say that the main point of contention about the cover between Perry and Warner Brothers Records was the inclusion of a swastika inside a Jewish Star of David on the side of the rocket. Also, this website, there's a lot of like maybe incorrect words, maybe typos, or just incorrect bad grammar. I don't know. It just seems wrong. But it goes on to say, it says the two disparaging symbols, and Tom says, I think they mean disparate, combined are apparently a universal sign of peace. although this is not well known. Tom very reasonably says here, I've heard that before, but come on. I feel like it doesn't take a great amount of awareness to realize that using a swastika and saying, oh, I meant it as a peace sign isn't going to get you very far. I mean,
yeah, like, yes, a lot of people know, it was like a Hindu Indian symbol, but the Nazis ruined it, and it's a fucking swastika now. It's
the same way they ruined the tiny mustache.
Yeah, unless you're in Sparks, then
you're in Sparks and your name is Ron Mail, or
one of my favorite things the drummer for Mastodon, Braun, said was Phil Collins did to Genesis what Hitler did to the swastika symbol.
That's fucking gnarly. That's all right. I'm not going to disagree with the man.
It's like the worst thing.
It's the most harsh insult you could possibly give someone.
He really fucking hates Phil Collins, Genesis.
Good. I mean, I've never been a fan, like, ever.
Fucking Invisible Touch. Come on.
Miss me with that shit. But it goes on to say right here, in the end, a drawing of a devil head was substituted for the symbol on the side of the rocket. The sculpture itself apparently was destroyed after it caught fire and exploded shortly after being photographed due to a malfunction in one of the fireworks being used.
I love that. This, like, it became its namesake.
Yeah, absolutely. It literally, exactly. And also, this is kind of neat. It says neat and kind of expected. It says several of the songs included on this album have their origins as Jane's Addiction songs. Both Blood Rag and Bad Shit began as interludes during Pigs and Zen. The songs are never recorded and released by Jane's and remained uncompleted. I don't think uncompleted is an actual word until Porno for Pyros recorded and released them. A little bit of a swansness there, where the songs came from jamming out in the middle of other songs. But we got one more to go, so I should probably pull that up if I'm going to start introducing it. Shit, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Hell yes. This is the follow-up and at this point last full-length album. This came out in 1993. I lost it. Crap, there it is. This is 1993's Good God's Urge. Already bringing in those Eastern percussion.
Yeah,
really weird instrument choices.
Because the albums were so short, I was able to listen to them back to back.
Yeah.
And this does feel like a continuation of what Orgasm was doing.
Yep.
I like the all-star lineup on this.
Oh, there's a lot of good guests on here.
Yeah.
Perry's way more gentle too. This is such a strange choice for an opener. I mean, holy crap.
I'd be okay with it, but I feel like this is the whole album.
I'm okay with it.
Okay.
I don't think it's a good opener, but I think it's a good song. I love this. And those bass lines are real good, real interesting.
Yeah, that's David J. from Love and Rockets playing bass on this.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I dig it. So this is the one you don't like.
I don't like this one.
I love this one. I think I like it so much more than the other one.
Damn.
Yeah.
It's not bad, but like I said, this feels like so much of the same thing to me that.
Oh, I don't know how you feel that way. This is such a diverse album. It's insanely diverse. It's a fucking weird album.
I don't know. I wasn't feeling it. Like, I was fine.
You're crazy.
Yeah, I was fine with Porpoisehead. Because I'm like, this is the beginning. It's definitely like channeling an aquatic feel to it.
Yeah.
And I was like ready to go. And then would find myself like drifting off. Although I suppose it is an album you can drift off to.
It is. It's extremely psychedelic. It's way more psychedelic than the other one, and they're going absolutely nutty on all the instrumentation. So you open up with Porpoise, which is a fucking it's a weird song, and then they followed up with 100 Ways, which is it's acoustic driven. It has like this really, it has this acoustic guitar tones. Really sounds like Sap from Alice in Chains.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very 90s acoustic guitar tone.
Yeah, I felt very like underwhelmed by that song, but it does do this cool thing around the 2-minute mark.
2:15, yeah.
Yeah, I can only describe it as like a very 90s break. Like it's just, you would never hear a bridge or a break like that in a song these days.
It's the drums sound electronic, which was a thing in the 90s where they had the fast electronic sounding drums, but it's a really fun and themic sing along kind of section. I dig it a lot, and I actually even like the trumpets on there. I think they sound fun. The percussion is really where it's at.
Yeah, there's a lot of instruments going on, but it's never like overwhelming.
I think it's done very tastefully. On Tahitian Moon, it does it on a few tracks, but where it starts bringing in a real 60s feel. It feels way more 60s than alt metal, especially the drums on the verses. It's odd, but I think it's pretty cool. I have a soft spot for that kind of thing. And it also has another big and themic chorus with more acoustic guitars. It feels good. I don't love the writing so much, but it just feels nice. But on that song at around 2 minutes, you have this fucking gorgeous, like almost flamenco section. It's like one of the most musical. I think it's the most one of the most musical moments they've ever done. On both albums. It's fucking, I love it.
Yeah, like this song being a single makes sense to me more than like Pets does.
For sure. But it's like stuff like that that's like, there's nothing even remotely close to that on the debut. So I'm completely on board with that. I love it.
I guess to be fair, like it is cool that they aren't trying to like replicate that first album at all. This is a different animal altogether.
Completely. The first one feels like they're trying to learn how to not be Jane's Addiction, and this is just a completely different band entirely. Okay, I already know that you hate Kimberly Austin.
Hell yeah, I do.
Yeah, I called that one a mile away. Okay, I like it. I don't think it's cringy at all. I like it.
I don't think it's. I don't hate it because I think it's cringy. I'm just like, oh, we have another
Jane
very light. No, I think I like it more than Jane says.
All right, I'll take that.
Like, I would listen to this album over a lot of Jane's Addiction albums.
I mean, I would too. It's only because I love it so much.
Yeah, it's like I wasn't offended. I was this, as I usually I'm bored. Like if someone had it, on in the car, I wouldn't be like, turn this shit off. It's fine. But yeah, when Kimberly Austin comes on, I'm like, oh, cool, more light, breezy stuff. Like, I guess that's just.
You're not thinking about what it's doing more on an intricate level, Alex. Because you're saying, oh, it's just another boring, breezy thing. I felt that to be a nice, diverse shift in the album, like a nice pacing choice, because it's the first thing to go full acoustic.
Okay, was pleasantly surprised by Thick of It All, because
I was hoping you'd say that, at least that, because it rules.
That song kind of doesn't belong here.
I think it. I mean, maybe not, but I think it rules.
It has this very like 80s goth vibe to it. Yep. It's the darkest and moodiest thing they've ever done. It is very cool. I was not expecting a song like that. It's darker. That was a nice surprise.
Totally. It's darker both tonally and in timbre. Like the instruments they're like mixed with a lot of mids. And then the big giant echoey drums feel, and there's even like some fucking Super Nintendo sounding guitars on there, which is very interesting. It's hypnotic. I think it's absolutely beautiful. And then you get another complete tone shift with the title track, and we got some Mike Watt playing bass on that one. Hell yeah.
Yeah. And then sorry, title track is this.
You don't like the title track?
It does. I do like when it eventually gets heavy and weird.
Around 2 minutes, it picks up like in a very garage rock kind of way.
Yes,
I think that feels great.
but when it's like the same tempo as the rest of the album, and this kind of like,
Where you're getting bored is where I'm finding the depth in the songwriting. Like,
yeah,
you just twice now you said like, all right, it's boring, but then at this one section at the end, then it picks up. See, like I see that as, oh, this song has range. The song is moving, and it's not just sticking with one thing the whole. So I'm always like, these songs always kind of catch me off guard and do something I'm not expecting. So I end up liking it a lot more.
that's a fair assessment. I don't know. Maybe one day I'll eat crow about this album, but
Maybe not
today.
Also.
Not
today. I love Wishing Well. I think it's pulled off super well. I love it. I mean, it's another one that feels super 60s, but I think it's a highlight. I feel like it's one of my favorite songs on here, actually.
I think the highlight for that song for me is there's this, what I can only describe as anxious guitar playing going on in the background. And it's this very, very cool. Usually not a fan of flutes, but they made flutes work.
Hell yeah. I mean, it's beautiful. It's a super ethereal, very spacey. There's hints of darkness and sadness, but it's not overly so. It's not like a dreary, sad song. It's got an interesting emotion to it. I like it a lot. And then the first alt metal song on that whole album is Dogs Rule the Night.
That's my second favorite song on here.
It's fucking great. I love it. Oh, it feels even better that we haven't had any alt metal on here, and then it comes in like past the halfway point like that.
It's the only time it picks up some steam. Nice like bass playing. Who plays bass on this song? Okay, that is Martin. So
it is Martin. Yeah.
That kind of feels like his last hurrah.
Yeah. I was looking at, I didn't realize how much shit he's done or who he's played with. I didn't know he was, I never listened to Thelonious Monster because Bob Forrest annoys me as a guy. Just the way he looks and talks.
I've never even heard of that band until right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He also played with The Cult, Dave Gahan, like Tom mentioned earlier, Scott Weiland, Mark Lanigan, Sarah McLachlan.
Sarah McLachlan.
Yep. Tom Morello, Wayne Staley.
In the Eyes of an Angel.
Indeed. And fun fact, he's married to Christina Applegate.
What? No way. Yep.
Didn't see that one coming.
I love these like weird, interesting connections and like weird bands dating actresses or directors. Like in Red Cross, we had like the Sofia Coppola connection.
Yeah, Steve was dating Sofia Coppola. That's fucking crazy.
It's insane, really. Or
yeah, and she posed naked on the cover of the best album.
There you go. Or even like Andrew WK and Kat Dennings is like insane.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
That's one of my most quotable lines when I was talking about Andrew WK and Kat Dennings.
Oh yeah.
Good vibes and big titty wives.
Jesus Christ. Oh shit. After that we have Freeway, which first of all we got fucking Flea on bass and Dave Navarro on guitar, so it's very close to just being Jane's Addiction.
Yes, I do. I think that's like some of my like favorite Dave Navarro guitar playing that I've heard ever, although I can't say outside of Jane's Addiction to be an expert on it, but it's this really interesting spastic fuzzy feel to it. It's this really cool, and the song is like this weird like experimental new wave song.
It's fucking nuts. I don't know what the hell this song is. I mean, it goes through a lot of changes, but like out the gate, it has this really manufactured, sterile sounding drums, which is it's not aged well, but it goes in. It has all kinds of bizarre changes. I mean, really form fuzzy guitar lines, which they do sound really good. I can't tell if that's a second bass on there or something because I really can't tell. It's really interestingly mixed.
I guess if there's a second bass, Flea it's like an overdub thing because I don't see.
I don't know if it is. I wouldn't bet too much that it is, but it just has a really, really fat sound.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the choruses are really big and simple, and they feel really good. But the solo section is when the nuttiness comes in. The beat boops, silly silly samples. I think it might be dual basses. I still can't tell, but it sounds like it. I don't know what the hell's happening there.
Yeah, that's why I was like, oh, this is like kind of like they've been listening to like Kraftwerk and Devo, and then this song came out.
It's funny, those beat boops. I swear, this is going to be the most random fucking nonsensical reference, but it sounds like the same fucking beat boops. There's an episode of Futurama. It's from the first season, I think. It's from season 1. They're going to some bar. It's like maybe episode 3 or 4 from the season 1. They're going to some bar, and the music that the transition music, the fucking B-roll transition. One of those has those fucking beat boops. They sound just like them, and if they aren't them, it's pretty close.
Maybe that's like the Wilhelm scream of electronic noises.
Like it's like a sample, like a stock sample that they use or something. Because maybe it's not them, but it sounds. I mean, it's a funny sound. It's not like a cool. It's a silly texture.
It is, but they pulled it off somehow.
I think it works. It's a strange song, but I do like it. And then it closes with Bally Eyes, and that's another wild shift in tone compared to the track before it. Back to more mellow acoustic stuff.
Yeah, open and close the same way for me, which on paper makes sense, but personally wish they had done something else. But
I don't mind it. I like it. I actually liked it more on second listen. Really funky bass, even though it has a bunch of mellow acoustic guitars driving it. Mm-hmm. But it kind of like how Orgasm did on the last album. It really leans into the psychedelic stuff. And toward the end, drums come in to fill everything out. But it's my least favorite track, and it ends extremely anticlimactically. I mean, it ends bizarrely quickly, but I still think it's like a nice, pleasant track. Bad closer, but a good song.
Yeah, what a way to like. That's all you fans get for 20, 30 years.
Yeah, I mean, I found it to be a step forward in basically every way. It's fucking weird. It's goofy, experimental. It's kooky. It's pretty. It's got a lot of depth to it, but as you can tell, it's not for everybody. But
it's short. It's worth a listen, and I like it. I like it more than a lot of Jane's Addiction's discography. So.
Interesting. So for this album, hilariously, this website says this album saw numerous delays, much attributed to difficulties with the album cover artwork. Again. It says the woman featured on the cover of this album is Christine Cagle, a former girlfriend of Perry Farrell and the mother of his oldest son, Yobel. His son's name is Yobel? Yobel?
I was so caught up on her name being Kegel. Like, do you think she does those exercises?
I think she does not, in protest of people probably saying that all the time.
Probably. I'm all about low-hanging fruit here, so.
Maybe. I wonder if he's even pronounced that. What the? Yobel. I bet he invented that fucking word and named his son that.
It almost sounds Yiddish. Yobel.
Yeah. Yobel. Yeah, a little bit. It says, at the time the band began working on this album, original bassist Marty Lenoble, they're calling him Marty here, was still in the band. After his departure, the band invited several artists to fill in. This album sees Pyros collaborate with the band Love and Rockets, Flea and Dave Navarro, who's still playing with Flea and the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and legendary bassist Mike Watt, hell yes, who would go on to remain with the band for much of the GGU tour. I didn't know Mike Watt was a part of this tour.
I had no idea. That's like the most interesting thing about this episode to me.
It's super interesting. Anything that he's a part of, I automatically like, all right, I'm going to give it a shot.
Yep.
He's such a fun dude, and I genuinely like his solo stuff too. I've still never heard Firehose.
That's the band I saw. He opened up for the Chili Peppers.
That makes sense.
Way back when Firehose opened up for Chili Peppers.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, and Firehose is 2/3 Minutemen, and George Hurley, the drummer, is literally one of my favorite drummers of all time. And I still have not given them a shot. It's just dragging my feet, I guess. So it goes on to say, well, this was the first time since their Jane's Addiction days that Perry Farrell and Dave Navarro appeared on the same album. Dave's contribution to the song Freeway was recorded at a time Perry Farrell was not in the studio. Flea and Dave Navarro would rejoin P4P. Man, this is inconsistent writing. For the end of the GGU tour. This album was originally intended to be called Hard Charger, but was eventually changed. The song Hard Charger, I think, was on the Private Parts soundtrack.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what it says. Forgot that movie existed.
I forgot. I remember seeing it when I was, way young and thinking it was the funniest thing ever. I have a hunch it doesn't hold up.
Probably not. Yeah, when you're a kid, that was like a thing. People like doing things with their butts, like Ace Ventura and Howard Stern. And
dude, the 90s ruled. You could just have just talking butts, and that was it. That was the joke.
That was peak comedy right there.
So I guess Dave Navarro and Flea worked with Perry in the room. So I guess it's not quite as contentious, I suppose. So they split when Jane's Addiction reformed in '97, but they reunited in 2020 for a Lollapalooza live stream with Mike Watt, which is delightful. I hope I want him to get paid. Real
quick, there was a brief reunion for Farrell's 50th birthday party in 20. I'm so used to saying 2009.
Oh, okay. I remember reading that. I forgot which year it was though. That sounds fun. Reuniting for your birthday, I guess that sounds fun.
Yeah, and then now we're caught up.
Yeah, and in 2022, this piece says, in 2022, the band's original lineup reunited for its first show in 25 years. In September 2022, Porno for Pyros worked on new songs. Farrell says would have been on the band's third album had it gotten that far back in the day. He admits he wasn't healthy at the time, and Tom notes here, a wee bit too fond of the glass pipe, perhaps. And combined with DeStefano's cancer battle, the timing didn't work for Porno for Pyros to stay together at that point.
I don't think he's ever healthy. Like,
yeah, if it's not drugs, it's fucking Botox. Or have you seen his face lately?
Or syphilis or something.
Dude, he's got so much work done on his face. It's weird. He's almost Simon Cowell levels of fucking plastic surgery.
That's not surprising.
No, no, it's not.
Seems like a very vain individual.
Insanely, but he does got a cool voice.
Got a cool voice. Holy shit! He looks like a wax version of himself. Like he had a Madame Tussauds or whatever.
Yeah,
Tussauds.
So's, is it so?
I don't know.
He's it's why man,
money's crazy. I'm just gonna say money's crazy.
Yeah, because I want to say like maybe I'm just not meant to understand that because I don't have that kind of money, but also you know it looks worse, right? Than if you just got old. Like,
then this aging gracefully, yeah.
So this piece in them says, in February, the group started recording at Johnny Depp's studio in Hollywood and evolved the material's more cumbersome arrangements into something crisper and more melodic with the same bite as earlier Porno's songs. Agua was the first track released from the collection. And I'll tell you right now, that song sucks. I mean, I don't know. Chris, the bite of no, it doesn't. It sucks.
There's no bite. There's no bite.
There's no bite. There's no bite. Where's the bite? I don't know.
Is this Seinfeld listening to it?
I know. Where's the bite? There's no bite. And then Tom notes. Tom says there's 2 more singles. Pete's Dad and Little Me are online. An EP should be coming sometime in 2024, plus a final tour. Let's see if that final tour ends up being as final as all those final Public Enemy tours, or Rolling Stones, or Kiss, or whoever.
Dude, yeah, Rolling Stones are like, there's no reason. Just fucking stop, please, love of God. But yeah, I didn't like. Well, Pete's Dad had moments that were okay, but still was overall kind of bland. And then Little Me is a little bit more energetic. It's fine. I don't hate it, but I don't think it's that great. Nothing even comes close to anything on any of the albums. None of them. But yeah, well, whatever. We'll see. As long as Mike Watt's getting paid, I'm fine with it. Whatever. That's all that matters. It's all just It's all just a scam to make sure Mike Watt gets paid well.
He needs to get paid for the fucking for getting screwed so hard with the Jackass theme. And I was thinking about it recently, like because I remember reading an interview with him years and years ago, saying that he never saw a dime for it, and just thinking about the legality and how easily it would be to sue Jackass for that. It's obvious that SST just stole the money. It's so obvious.
Like, yeah, anyone who hears that song is gonna go, "That's the Jackass." It's so synonymous.
Me, I guess.
Yeah, it's so synonymous with Jackass.
It's insane. It's not even. It's like it's almost transcended Jackass as something Jackass-like. Like you can make it's become so prominent with like the beginning of someone doing something stupid. Like that's the sound you hear.
It's a verb now.
Yeah, it's amazing. But I'm pretty because wasn't SST like stealing a bunch of money from all their artists?
I forget what it. I
think they were, and that has to be one of the biggest ones. I mean, to license that thing, and after how big it got, dude.
Yeah.
Oh God. So in other words, Mike Watt deserves it. He deserves all of it. He's been through so much. He almost died from having a fucking cyst in his taint. I mean, that really happened. That's a real thing.
Ah, man. And then someone in here had testicular cancer too.
Yep, Stephen Perkins did. Yeah.
Man.
Pulled through though.
Fellas, if you're over 40, get your colon checked, get your balls checked, get your taint checked.
Get your prostate. Yep. Get it all checked.
Get up in that ass, Larry. Get up in that ass.
Because we're not going to be here forever. All right, just try to do what you can. But thank you so much for listening and watching. This is actually very nice fun. I mean, doing it over Skype is always a little iffy, especially when we haven't done it in a long time. I have to figure out how to do it. But yeah, this is not bad. This is an easy discography, fun stuff.
Yeah, it's a different vibe, so we try to give our listeners, a smaller, more digestible thing. Save the good stuff for in person. Yeah.
Some of the if we can do something nice and big in person, we will. If not, then we'll. Yeah, this is fine. But yeah, the past 2 weeks we've had like nice short little episodes. Before that, we had 2 massive giant motherfuckers back to back. So this is, I think, is nice in between.
I enjoyed my time despite not loving the second album.
I enjoyed it a lot more. Yeah. I may hate the guy, but god damn it, he can put out some good tunes. At least he did in the 90s and late 80s. But anyway, thank you so much for listening and watching and hanging out. If you want to support us, you know what to do. Like the video, subscribe, talk some shit in the comments. All that. Follow me on all social media at PanderMonkey and Alex on Instagram at
Every Album Alex.
And please check out and follow our history guy, Tom Osman, at Tom Osman Sounds on all social media, as well as TomOsmanSounds.com for all his music, and TomOsman.substack.com for his podcast, where he interviews a bunch of cool musicians, and he also writes about music. He interviews musicians both in print and on the podcast. He's a busy man. He's lining up those interviews. It's pretty fucking cool. So go there and do that. Check out my EP, Pounder Monkey. There's a link to that in the description. It's very cool. Thank you. And last but not least, patreon.com/everyalbumever. That is where you go, baby. You get some bonus episodes. You get to see our schedule in advance. You get to vote on polls to decide who we cover next. You get to be a part of our Discord, be a part of our community, as well as suggest episodes for our EAE singles episodes. So if an album came out this year and you want us to talk about it, throw it in there and we'll pick it out and do an episode. If you're tier 2, if you're bigger than Jesus, then you can suggest a full-ass discography for us to cover on these bigger, longer numbered episodes. And as well, in addition to that, you can suggest any album from any discography for us to talk about and cover on our Patreon bonus episodes. There's plenty there to do, plenty to enjoy. Go do that. I think that about does it. So,
yes, sir.
What are we wrapping it up with?
I feel like, this is your cross to bear.
Well, you know what? Why the hell not do a little, well, let's do Pack in 25.
All right. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. So thank you so much for listening and watching. See ya.